Bonuses. I want to start with bankers' bonuses. I don't know why Liz Truss's first priority for this country appears to be letting bankers get richer.
Well, because let's say a bank makes a certain amount of profit. If it hangs on to that profit, then it has to pay corporation tax on it at what, 19%? If instead it gives some of that profit to its employees, then they have to pay income tax on it on, 45%? At 45%, so more money goes into the Treasury.
But ultimately, when you have food banks exploding, when you have food prices, energy prices crippling families, the optics of saying, actually, one of the first things we're going to do is let bankers get richer, so I think is really, it might be something that works. Have to wait and see.
More money goes into the Treasury.
But it's bad politics.
I quite agree. Some people aren't going to like the optics of it, but I think that we can tolerate a lot of red-faced young men throwing bread rolls at each other in the Ivy if it actually means that more money goes into the Treasury.
I mean, it's an interesting point.
They actually make less money because the logic is because bankers' actual salaries have gone up because they've capped the bonuses. So it's actually made them less risk averse, which they should be. So if you actually remove the cap, their base salary goes down and it makes them actually behave better.
But the problem we had with the financial crash before was that the bonuses were getting so stratospherically big, they all began behaving recklessly.
Yeah, but then the industry was heavily regulated, so now there are more regulations to actually police that sort of behaviour.
But levers don't change their spots. I mean, I've nothing against bankers personally, but give them a load of cash.
But this doesn't actually necessarily
trouble is going
make
to
them
start.
richer.
Emily, am I wrong?
Well, I think there hasn't been much around the regulation. So, as you say, back to the financial crash, mostly in America, subprime, they were getting huge bonuses for not delivering anything.
Right.
So we do need to keep I think it's right. They should be allowed to be paid whatever bonus the bank thinks right, but make sure there's some regulation. They're getting the bonus for delivering.
Exactly.
And to your point, yes, it's the politics of envy if you say everyone should be paid a certain amount, and that money does go out. It goes into restaurants in London, for instance, who are having an absolutely terrible time at the moment. Yeah. But to your point about the politics, I don't think she meant this to be leaked out.
Right.
I think there's a lot of frustration. Actually, the Sunday Times reported on that. Because, of course, that's not the first thing you want to come out.
But
Labour can leap on this now,
it?
especially when you're talking that they don't want to do a windfall. She doesn't want to do a windfall
Well,
tax
again,
either.
why would you also brief that you're not going to tax the energy companies? Because they're the first people I'd be putting a windfall tax on. So, look, it's a bold strategy if it works. If it goes wrong, you'd look back and say, well, why would you announce those two things?
Well, she didn't. It was a leak. Apparently, she was very cross about the bankers'
Well,
bonus.
that in itself may be a disingenuous leak.
No, and then in itself, if one of her own team leaked it, you've got to think, can you trust your own team?
Yeah.
Or are they Boris's people? And is there actually a lot more trouble?
You wouldn't trust Boris's people as far as they could party.
Maybe she thinks she can.